So thank you for being here. This is really our first webinar, so exciting stuff. Kent is going to be rolling through essentially what we do and just sharing with you a bit more about Parker technology and why we exist, the value that we try to bring to our clients. We want it to be interactive. So if you have questions, I believe you all can chat and that will go to us. We have Anya and Caitlin and me here who will be fielding questions and getting those to Kent if you have them. If you want to pop on and actually say something or show your face or something, I can do that. So just put that in a chat message and let us know. At any point, we will have time for Q&A at the end as well. So with that, I will pass it over to Kent and he will share his screen. Yeah, and like I said, feel free to ask questions throughout if they pop up.
Good afternoon, good morning, everybody. Thanks again for joining us. Reiterating what Heidi said, yeah, we're super excited. I know we've been around, Parker's been around for quite a few years now, but there's been a lot of changes over the last couple of years. And we just thought this would be a good opportunity to, reach out and let people know about those changes, who we are, and kind of what the main things that we do for people. So again, Heidi said, please post questions. We'd love to hear feedback and answer your questions. So put them in the chat box there. All right, we're going to start with a poll, right? Don't most presentations start with a poll? So Heidi and we'll be putting up a poll here for us to see. But what is your parking operations highest priority? So we're going to make you just pick one, right? You get to pick from revenue, customer experience, data reporting, staffing, or other. And we'll give you a few seconds here to vote. And then Heidi, can you see votes come through?
Yes, I can see them.
Okay.
So once we have 80%, so just 3 more people who have not voted, which actually I think that's everyone. So I will end the poll. So
okay. Excellent. Thanks for that. So kind of really, we bring that poll up because those are the largest areas where we can really help you. So, all right. Oh, okay. So revenue, customer experience was number 1, data reporting and capturing revenue. Okay, fantastic. So I want to start, someone told me this once, or I heard it somewhere, and it's a little, I guess, kind of quote, but customers generate revenue, but the human touch drives the experience. And I think that's more important than ever in today's market, in the world, because of the things that have happened in the last couple of years. And really, a lot of things are changing rapidly. Just take parking, for example. In the last decade, parking facilities have become nearly universally automated, and frictionless parking has become the industry standard. So even as technology improves and this automation becomes more prevalent, most American consumers still prefer human interaction. But people engage with apps, self-service checkouts, websites, and the like. But the second that something goes wrong, they want to talk to a person. And nearly 80% of American consumers, they point to speed, convenience, knowledgeable help, and friendly service as the most important elements of a positive customer experience. So we're starting with our second poll. So this one's about how are you currently handling your intercom calls or your service calls?
Okay, give me 1 second. I believe it's this one. Yes, here you go.
There we go. So your options are sending the call to a manager's phone, answering internally at your own call center, just send them to the security office or the police desk, having your parking operator's command center answer the calls, and or maybe a third party, another command center answering his calls. And your last option is, do we really even get any calls?
And if you're like with a parks vendor, or like you're not an operator, then you could just select which one that you hear most commonly from your customers or something like that.
One of the first questions we ask someone that's interested in our software or services, we always want to know, how many calls are you answering on a monthly basis? And it's really a hard answer for most people to really come up with a number. All right, so we have some people send them to the manager. Okay, 42% you're answering them internally into call center, security office, parking operator, and a third party command center. Okay. A lot of in-house stuff there. So good. We'll talk about that shortly. And shortly by I mean now, right? So staffing, I think besides customer experience and customer service, another huge area that we can help you and really make a huge impact is your staffing, and tech and people together, helping improve your customer's experience. I travel. I'm sure I've seen most of you at a lot of the conferences the last few weeks, but the last 2 shows, I've had people come up to me at the booth. They come walking up with their hand out and they want to shake my hand, and they wanted to just let me know how much that they appreciated our customer service representatives and how much they take a lot off their plates on a daily basis. They also wanted to let me know how personable and professional we were in handling their calls. So that's a big thing, obviously, is staffing. In these conferences, these are garage managers and line level supervisors that came up to tell me that. So that was, really made me proud of the service that we provided them for their locations. So we really do help free up your staff to do other higher priority tasks. We help reduce interruptions and distractions for them. And if you choose to use our 24/7 call center, it's really a fraction of the cost of employing additional staff that you would need, including overnights and weekends. Plus, without interruption of intercom calls to your staff and your internal staff, they can be deployed to accomplish, as I said, other tasks in your business and operations. And staffing is huge these days. So software and service options. So we realize that garage managers do need different levels of service based on their location, how many parking spots they have, the number of hours that they're open, and whether or not they have on-site staff. So that's why we have the ability to offer 3 different service and software options that cover your business as much or as little as you like. So you can see here, we can do the 24/7. We can also do a hybrid solution so that your staff, your security desk, your garage manager, they can use our software platform and answer the calls during the day, and that we can do nights and weekends. And then lastly, if you have a larger internal call center, or you like to answer all your calls 24/7, you can use our software platform to do that internally there at your facility or at your command center. So I have another story for you about this. We recently added an airport, and they first set us up as a hybrid. So we were answering nights and weekends. Well, after a couple of weeks, they realized that with the additional revenue that we were collecting for them, that we were actually paying for ourselves. So just after those couple of weeks, they moved all their calls to us 24/7. But the cool thing is, and I've heard this a lot recently, is that the airport, because we were effectively paying for ourselves, they were able to keep all their employees and they just redistributed them throughout the airport. They made some ambassadors that just roamed, somewhere in a parking lot, they were roaming in the airports on areas where that a lot of customers would need help. So it was pretty cool to hear that they kept their entire staff and just redeployed them to provide even greater customer service throughout the airport. And our third and last poll for the afternoon is, how much revenue do you think you're losing a day just by vending the gates? So we have some ranges here: 0 to 100, 100 to 250, 250, 500, and 500 plus. And again, if you're not sure, hit that not sure selection there.
Okay, we have lots of answers coming in.
Okay.
Give it a few more minutes or a few more seconds to see if we have a few more that pop in here. Okay, I think that's most everybody. So here are the results.
So we have a lot of people who aren't sure, and then it's kind of split from 0 to $250. Cool. Kind of also goes back to the question about, do you know how many calls you're taking a day, right? Most facilities and operators, as you mentioned earlier about the whole staffing problem, is they take a call, it's not logged. A lot of times, they just raise the gate because you're so busy and you have other things going on that you really just don't have the time. So as we talked about so far, we talked about improving customer experience. We've also talked about, we just mentioned a poll about revenue collection. And then the third big thing here as a benefit would be call data. So parking guests, they expect to enter and exit your garage today without interacting with staff. But as you mentioned, when they do need help, they want it instantly. Customer service is expected to be everywhere and nowhere all at once. So our software platform puts a virtual ambassador in every lane or at every device for you. If you add in our patented two-way video, all this happens with the added, personal and friendly touch of interacting with your parking guests face-to-face. That really makes a big difference. It really calms people down, and they really behave a lot better when they know that they're being watched and then they can see somebody else. This gives it that friendlier human touch, so that when parking guests do call for help, we can help them pay and get them on their way in under a minute. That's our goal. And while doing that, while providing excellent customer service, we help capture that revenue that could have been lost, and we keep the traffic moving by taking care of those calls in under a minute. And we take care of those calls based on your preferences. You will work with us with how you would like for us to control, and we can customize these business rules that dictate how the CSR handles the calls. So that would be the same business rules that if you did the calls from your staff, that would also apply to if our CSRs answer those calls for you, for your customers. And then the third part about the data is that you own all the data and you have access to this data regardless of who takes the calls. Using a software platform, every call is recorded and made available in real time for you to review, go over with the CSRs to make improvements in how they handle people and make improvements in the business rules. It's kind of like a dial. So if you needed us to ratchet up revenue collection, you want us to be more revenue collection focus versus, I guess, dial it down to one, be more the utmost customer service focus, we can do that based on those business rules. And again, with all the data, as I mentioned, you can check call duration, you can check the volume, you go through the resolutions. So one part where data is very effective, if you use it, that it provides insights that you need or you can use to help improve efficiencies and the overall customer experience in your operation. So that data is at your fingertips. So you and your managers will have access to that data in real time. You know, it's all a cloud-based solution. So in any laptop or phone, you have access to your data. So those are the big benefits that we provide. Now, the power of the platform. So back in, we began with an initial platform back in the 2015, 2016s. We revamped our entire platform in 2020, 2021. We quickly realized that integrations and being able to be flexible and working with other parking companies and software was the way of the future. So I think we were kind of on the beginning of that and saw that happening. So as we know, parking is constantly changing, and these technological advances have made it easier for guests to find, book, and pay for parking. But as I stated earlier, because parking has evolved so quickly, some of our parking guests are struggling to keep up. And how do we know that? So our experience and data suggests that a help button or intercom button is pushed 85 million times a year. And that data shows that most times it's a human issue, right? They're not familiar with the app or the equipment. So that's why, as we studied earlier, that human touch is super important for your customer's experience and their journey throughout your parking. But with our versatility of our software, we are able to customize it to work in any industry or vertical that would have parking involved, whether it be paid, gated, ungated, lots. And those business rules really rule and dictate how we take care of the customers in each of those situations in parking. So I mentioned integrations and other applications. So we currently have several integrations with a few parking companies, parks companies. We are currently working on developing integrations and APIs with 3 other parking companies. And we already have APIs with some online reservation applications and other ticketless, frictionless parking apps as well. So that is, as I stated back in 2020, 2021, we saw the future. So that's something that we work on a monthly and quarterly basis. And we're always continuing to improve our own software so that it makes the CSR's job much easier to answer, take care of, and provide those resolutions to the customers as fast as they can. So I know I went through a lot there, and we're right at 20 minutes. So I do want to.
I have a question for you that actually I
Okay.
think segues well. So someone asked, how long does it typically take to get set up with us? And does it take longer depending on the park's equipment?
Sure. So as in any partnership, we have locations where we can get ramped up in just a few days. And really, as I mentioned, that partnership, we work with you at first to come up with those business rules. And then we also work with your parks provider or your dealer or your service company locally to get the intercoms turned on or turns toward our software platform. So really, it all focuses on how fast we get everyone to the table so that we have a clear understanding of what everyone needs to do. And we work together to make that happen. So we've done some in as little as 2 days. You know, most times you like to have a little bit more time and go from, you know, maybe 5 to 10 business days. So once we agree on kind of how you would like things set up at that location, so whether you have, right, who's answering the calls and what integrations you might like, would you like two-way video? Once we have those configurations done, that really gets the ball rolling. And then when we have an agreement, we have an implementation team. So our implementation team is kind of our quarterback from that point forward that will get everybody involved, more or less a project manager to help get things running and installed and set up for you. Then if you're taking the calls on our platform, you do receive training and training on the portal and the dashboard and all the data as well. That's a good question.
Yep. Awesome. Thanks, Kent.
Sure.
Okay. If anybody has any questions, like I said, you can put them in the chat or the Q&A. In the meantime, since we do have a few minutes, Caitlin is going to pull up our frequently asked questions and maybe pull a few of those that we get a lot. Caitlin, did you have one teed up?
Yep. One of our most frequently asked questions is, how do I know that my calls are being handled the way I want them to be?
That's a great question. And I mentioned earlier that you have access to all your data. So we give you, you have your own customer portal, and we would be happy to do a demo for you, someone, if you wanted to actually see it in person. But all the calls roll at the bottom of your dashboard, and you have the ability to click on them individually. And if it's an audio call, you can listen to the conversation. If it's a two-way video call, it's a full recording of the two-way video. So then you can evaluate how the customer service representative followed your business rules and how well they took care of your customer. And then we can make changes based on what you're seeing or what you're hearing in those recordings to your business rules to make changes.
Okay, awesome. All right, I don't see any other questions. Caitlin, do you want to ask another one maybe?
Yeah, sure. So another one of our questions relates to traffic flow and getting our parking patrons in and out quickly. So on average, how quickly are our calls answered and resolved?
Yeah, so we're answering calls within about 10 seconds. As I mentioned earlier, our goal is to be have everything taken care of with the customer within a minute. And as those business rules dictate, we go as fast as we can to handle all those situations. We want them to be as fast as possible, but they'll take as long as needed to take care of the customer the best way we can.
Great. All right, Caitlin, give us one more.
Okay.
Oh, wait a second. I have a question. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, Sean. Is pricing generally based on a location, call volume, or based on contract? And are the calls branded to the operator, owner, or as Parker? Awesome questions.
Yep, great question. So the calls are branded to your location. So when we set it up, when the call comes in, the CSR, whether it's your CSR or ours, we're going to answer it as if we're there. However you want us to answer the call. Welcome to Fifth and Elm Garage. This is Kent. How may I help you? This is, you want to answer it as an operator. We'll answer it as your operator name. However you want to set that up. So then we break down our pricing into really two functions. So one is the software. So we do have a monthly SaaS agreement with you for software, whether it's our platform and or any other APIs that with other parking company or other parking apps. And then we kind of manage our schedule, our CSRs, if we're taking the calls based on a call volume on a monthly basis. So that is a great question. And I mentioned it's a lot, most times people don't know how many calls they're taking. So we have over 800 locations, and we really use our call volume data, and we break it down by vertical so that we have a pretty good idea of where to start with the call volume. And then after a couple months, you know, as I said, we want to be a partner. So we'll be flexible with you in the first couple months that for us to get a good understanding of how many calls that you're going to take. And then we want to get you to a call volume on a monthly basis so that we can plan and schedule if we're taking the calls. It'll also help you schedule internally if you guys do the calls too. Again, we use that data for timing, right? You might need more people in the morning if you're a downtown central business district location, you know, from 6 to 9. And again, you're going to need more people in the afternoon. So we really do evaluate and use data to help you come up with those call volumes and that pricing.
Okay, awesome. Thanks, Kent, and thanks for the question, Sean. All right, Caitlin has one more question to close with, since I don't see any others in the chat or the Q&A. So if you want to ask the last question, Caitlin.
Yes. A lot of our customers ask whether or not any hardware is needed to get set up, or if we can work with what they currently have installed.
I was hoping I was going to say something about that. So thanks for asking. So any intercom, any current intercom of any parking equipment or access control equipment, we can point to our software platform. So there's still, right, a few parking companies that we don't have an actual software integration with, but it doesn't matter. So any intercom, and we've been able to do that since about 2017, 2016. We've had that flexibility in adding any intercom brand to our software.
Okay, fantastic. All right, how can people get in touch with you, or what are next steps?
Yeah, please visit our website, parkertechnology.com. We have tons of information there and resources. We have an actual resource page. We have the facts page. We have a great blog section that has a lot of customer testimonials and just cut sheets and things like that. And then we are, I'm available. You have my email, my cell phone number on there to reach out for any additional questions. And yeah, the first thing is we just love to learn more about your locations. If you are interested, we'll ask a lot of questions. And then, yeah, let's work together to find the best solution for you and your parking customers.
Awesome. Kent, if you want to move to the next slide, I think that has your contact
Here we
info.
go. I was off one. Thank you.
There you go. So if you want to take a screenshot of that, or some of you probably already have Kent's info, or we also have a sales@parkertechnology.com email that would triage to whichever geographic region you are in. And unless we have any other questions, it does not look like anybody's put anything through. So we just want to thank everybody for hopping on today. Thanks, Kent, for explaining everything so well. Yeah, let us know if you have other questions, or if there's more information that we can provide to you as a follow-up. And I'm sure you'll be hearing from us. So
Thank you, everybody.
thank you.